The Buffalo Bills at 7-3 take on the Houston Texans tonight. Texans at 5-5. This is one of those, and there's a few of them coming up where it's kind of like whoever loses this game is kind of screwed for different reasons. If the Texans lose it, they're kind of screwed in the chase, not only for the AFC South crown, which frankly, it's 3 games away. Now, they do have 2 to play against the Colts, but they lose again. If the Colts win on Sunday at Kansas City, it may be night-night for the division, and then the question becomes, can you pull your way into the chase for one of the wild card spots? If the Bills should lose and fall to 7-4, they're seeing the Patriots get farther and farther in front of them, and it may be no division. It already may be no division title for the Bills this year. And at some point, they got to worry. Have we lost enough games that we could it be that both the Bills and the Chiefs miss the playoffs? There's a way that, and I'm not saying it's likely, and where are the playoff teams going to come from if this would happen? But there's a way that the Bills don't make it, and the Chiefs don't make it, and the Ravens don't make it. And it's really not that crazy. Look at that screen. The Texans. This is why tonight's game is so important, folks. The Texans have a chance to move from in the hunt to wild card. And one of the teams in the wild card window is the Bills. And there are the Texans in the hunt. There's a chance when in the hunt becomes SOL, 3 of the teams on there will be Buffalo, KC, and Baltimore. There's a chance. And could you imagine if that happens? And as someone who loves chaos, and I'm sorry, Bills fans, Chiefs fans, Ravens fans, but if you like chaos, an AFC playoff field without the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs, are you kidding me? Some questions from the mailbag posted on Twitter. I know it's called X, but you know what? It hit me about a year or so ago. I don't want to call it X. I know it is Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. When you type twitter.com into the browser, it still takes you to Twitter. Until I get a 404 error for twitter.com, I'm going to call it whatever the hell I want to call it. And even then, I'll still call it Twitter if I want to call it Twitter. All right. Sarcasm at 24. Do you think Josh Allen is being wasted in the prime of his career? This always sparks an interesting conversation, which may or may not result in phone calls from the Western New York area code. And Chris and I will have this conversation from time to time, and I think Chris is more behind Sean McDermott than he is behind Brandon Beane, because Chris will blame the talent level, which is an indictment of the person who puts the talent together. Some will blame the coaching, 13 seconds and whatnot. That puts the onus on Sean McDermott. None of it matters unless and until ownership is willing to do something about it. And think about the bigger picture here. The Bills are getting ready to go into a new stadium next year, right? We don't need all the bells and whistles of having a Super Bowl team. We're getting our new stadium. There's your bells and whistles. We're not going to make sudden moves. We're not going to undermine. Next year's a celebration. We are moving from our stadium into a new stadium. I don't get the impression that Terry Pegula is the kind of guy that's going to want to turn things upside down on the year they're moving into their new stadium. This is okay, 2025 didn't work out the way we wanted it to, but 2026, we control the fact that this is a happy time, a positive time, a year in which I'm going to make more money than usual with all the new revenue streams flowing from the new stadium. Why do I want to put a dark cloud over the new stadium? By firing coach, GM, or both. So the reality is, with each passing year they don't get back to the Super Bowl, there is one fewer year left in however long Josh Allen's career is going to be. And you tell me, are they wasting the prime of his career? I don't know how much longer his prime is going to last, but the quarterbacks who rely on mobility, it seems to go faster than the ones who rely on arm strength, solely derived from the arm, not derived from the full body dry heave a la Kirk Cousins, but just the arm flick of the wrist. At some point, Josh Allen's going to have to modify his game because he's not going to be able to run like he currently does. How long is he going to be able to play at a high level? How many more years do we have of Josh Allen? If I was a Bills fan, and one of the reasons I think certain fans get mad at me is I will speak to the things that keep them up at night when they're worried about their team. And if I was a Bills fan, I would be very worried. I would be feeling very anxious that we're never going to get to a Super Bowl with Josh Allen. And that with each passing year, the pressure gets higher and higher. And what are we doing to improve? And there go the Patriots. The Patriots are back. Isn't this great? You know, boss was out of town for a few weeks, right? Had my chance to take over while he was gone. Had my chance to do a hostile takeover. Didn't quite get there, and now he's back. And I've been smacked back down. Kind of what Bills fans have to be thinking. They had their chance to go win a Super Bowl during the years the Patriots were down, and now the Patriots are back, and they got to deal with them again. Coach Mark Hutch, can Josh Allen and Buffalo's pass offense stay hot against a tough Texans defense? It's one of the reasons we watched this one tonight. You know, we've had to kiss a few frogs in primetime lately. Jets-Patriots last week. Now, if you're a Patriots fan, you enjoyed it, but it wasn't a great game. It wasn't a compelling game. It wasn't a blowout, but it was hardly edge-of-your-seat stuff. Same thing as Monday night. It was fun to see the Cowboys playing at a high level, and I'm kind of, you know, my George Pickens affinity and the fact that I'm gradually being proven right all along about George Pickens, it's kind of, I feel dirty saying it. It's kind of making me a Cowboys fan. Sort of. Like I want to see them do well. I want to see Pickens do well. I want to be proven right. Don't we always want to be proven right in our takes? I'm so rarely right that when I have a chance to be, I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, I'm not answering the question. The question is, we'll find out. And there's a report, and we're going to get to that Keon Coleman won't be playing. And that actually, let's get there. MN Miller film rev, Keon Coleman in or out. The report is he'll be a healthy scratch for a second straight game. It was an outlet that I'd never heard of before. There's cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. I don't know. It's one of the 4 covers, but there's a report, and it's the same outlet we hadn't previously heard of, all due respect. Hell, that's fine. We were once an outlet that nobody had heard of, and we're still an outlet that a lot of people haven't heard of. But the report was last week Keon Coleman was going to be a healthy scratch for Week 11, and he was. And that same reporter, that same group, which apparently has a pipeline to Keon Coleman's inner circle or Keon Coleman directly or his agency or whatever, that's how you get that information. He's going to be a healthy scratch again tonight. And remember, they brought Mecole Hardman to the team and brought back Gabe Davis and activated him both last week. We'll see. But Keon Coleman, that's a disappointment. That's the guy. Not that Xavier Worthy is on the brink of being an all-pro, but they could have had Xavier Worthy. They traded with their playoff arch rivals, the Chiefs, so the Chiefs could get Xavier Worthy, and then the Bills took Keon Coleman, and Keon Coleman hasn't lived up to the expectations. And he's got such a great personality, and he's just kind of quirky and funny. But if you're not going to play at a high level, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be in Buffalo for very long. Stan's 1980 has the Texans defense shut down any good offenses. The Rams was one game. Ravens without Lamar. Seattle put up 27. I mean, there's still NFL teams that these teams are playing. We get that question from time to time. How good is that team? Somebody raised the point last night. You know, how the Vikings played a lot of bad teams last year. Yeah, but they won. And they're all members of the NFL. They are all elite football units. Some are more elite than others. Others are less elite than others. But they're all in the NFL. Any given Sunday, you're still playing NFL caliber opposition. And over the course of time, as you prove it week in and week out, as your numbers are justified and strengthened by the number of games you've played, You get to a point where, come on, you can pick and you can criticize. And Texans have a good defense. Texans have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and as Chris Sims always says, they can win games on their own. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.